Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I read Glitch in the Matrix stories, usually. Stories that are just strange. Now let's get right into it. Story title: Is someone or something trying to send me a message? Author name: Havoc8907. A couple years ago, I met this girl who I'll refer to as Marla. I met her online through an app called Whisper. One day, I came across a Whisper posted by her. It was about how it's a red flag if a guy is in his 30s and still living in his mom's basement. The app has a chat feature, so I sent her a message. She messaged me back about an hour or two later. "You're not a beautiful and unique snowflake." Her response had nothing to do with what I initially messaged her, so I was confused. I just responded with, "Huh?" She then proceeded to remind me that my username was Tyler Durden, and that her message was a reference to a quote from the movie, Fight Club. It had completely flown over my head, to be honest. I don't recall why, but I took a screenshot of our initial conversation. Conversations on the app would usually fizzle out after about a couple of hours. It didn't happen with her though. After a couple of days of talking through the app, we exchanged pictures and phone numbers. We got along well. We would text all day and the conversations never went stale. After about a couple weeks of texting, I finally worked up the courage to ask her out. We made plans to meet up at a diner. She was even prettier in person. We hung out for a couple of hours and I thought it went pretty well. There were no awkward silences. We laughed at each other's jokes. She even opened up to me about some stuff that was going on in her life. After dinner, we drove around for a bit, and she passed by her childhood home. At the end of the date, she asked me if I was free to go with her to IKEA the following Sunday. I've been on bad dates, but this was not one of them. And yet also, this is not a story about how a guy meets a girl, and they both live happily ever after. About a week after our date, she simply stopped replying to my texts. I was genuinely surprised that she was ghosting me. I was sad, sure, but more than anything I recall being shocked. I blew up her phone with texts and calls, seeking an explanation. Unfortunately, I never got one. After a couple days, I gave up and decided to move on. I deleted her phone number. I deleted all of the pictures she ever sent me, and I also deleted the screenshot of our first conversation that I had taken. Fast forward to 2019. Around this time last year, I was talking to this girl. One day she texts me and tells me that she wasn't feeling it anymore and that we should go our separate ways. I appreciated her honesty and wished her well. It sucked, but I wasn't too hurt over it. I got to thinking though. I reflected back on the girls I had met and dated over the past several years. I got to thinking about Marla. Yeah, she ghosted me, but from a personality perspective, I haven't met anyone quite like her. What happened next is something I truly can't explain. I was in my room thinking about her and how I was done with the casual dating scene. Mind you, I was completely sober during this endeavor. I then get an email. Nothing crazy, right? We get those all the time. But it was an email from myself. There was no subject line or text in the body. There was an attachment though. It was a screenshot I took of our first conversation. I had deleted the screenshot years ago, right after Marla had ghosted me. What's more, I took the screenshot on a phone that I had stopped using a while ago. I never told anyone I took that screenshot, not even Marla. Emails don't just appear out of nowhere. Yeah, technology can be glitchy, but not like this. I have no explanation as to how I received that email. If anyone has any theories, I'm all eyes. Also, just a note, Marla is a fake name. Obviously, I'm not going to post her real name on Reddit. Personal thoughts. This glitch unsettles me more than most. I'm wondering if there's some kind of entity that somehow took over her, like a demon. Maybe even killed her. I'm not sure why my mind is going there, it's dark. But how else could you randomly receive an email from yourself with a screenshot that you had deleted that even she didn't even know about? If I had to break this down to normal possibilities, I'd say Somehow when you took the screenshot, it was uploaded to the cloud automatically. And some employee at whatever company you use for your cloud services, if any, saw it, somehow saved it, and silently sent it through your own email system to yourself years later. Huh. I mean, that's so unlikely it seems ludicrous, but I don't really have any other real theories. I mean, I guess that is technically possible, just why would anyone do that, right? Sure, it does happen that a girl will ghost on you, but this doesn't seem natural. Just by how much you were clicking with her, it seems almost like something happened to her, not that she just stopped being interested. Maybe she died and this is her way of forcing you to remember her. This happened in 2019, right? Has anything else weird related to her occurred since then? Let us know. Second story. Story title: I may have seen a ghost when I was a kid. Author name: Matt Gamora Alt 3. I like to write horror, and to get in the mood I like to read real cases of ghosts and unexplainable things. I've never been sensitive or anything, so I don't have lots of stories, but I remembered one that happened during my childhood, when I think I was around 7. I used to wake up early, because at the time I thought I was wasting valuable playtime if I woke up late. I had school at 1 p.m., so I like to enjoy every moment of my morning, waking up sometimes usually at 6 in the morning or earlier. When I woke up, I usually started playing with my Lego minifigures. I liked more to use the characters than to actually build things, because in my mind, I was making movies with them. To emulate the camera, I like to lay on the floor, approaching myself to their faces to make some kind of simulated close-up. So this particular morning I woke up and was doing my usual routine, playing with the Legos, and my bedroom's door was wide open. I was playing, then I looked back at the door and saw the legs of a person walking in the corridor right in front of my door and then going out of my sight, in a direction of the living room. They wore white tennis shoes. I said, "Hi Elsa," because I immediately assumed the person was my nanny, who usually arrived pretty early. She didn't answer. I went back to my Legos, and then for some reason, not much later, I went to the living room to talk to her. And she wasn't there. I got confused, and went all around the house looking for her, but she was not in the house at all. I ran to my mother's bedroom, woke her up, and also my stepfather up, telling them all about what happened and asking them if Elsa wasn't really at home. My stepfather said, still sleeping, "Oh, I heard someone opening the windows." They then went back to sleep, and I got creeped out for the rest of the morning. Sure, it could have been my active imagination or my mind tricking me, and maybe my stepfather did imagine hearing someone opening the window, or I had opened a window and didn't remember, but at the time I was very scared with the whole thing. My nanny, at around 9 or 10 a.m. that day, if I recall correctly. Personal thoughts. So this is to the point as well, but it's very confusing, isn't it? My first thought is, nothing was missing from your house, right? Perhaps this was a burglary attempt, but your parents never mentioned that anything was taken, right? The timing wouldn't make sense for that, would it? Not many burglars would be wearing white tennis shoes and try to rob a place in the morning. Rather conspicuous. You think it was some kind of spirit. That wouldn't fit very well either, as I presume you never saw this person or entity again. Your dad heard the window opening, but was it still open when he told you? These are questions I asked the author, and they responded with. For the first question, I highly doubt it. We used to live in a very peaceful neighborhood, and there never was any attempt to break inside any of the houses in my street, let alone in my apartment that was on the second floor. Also, nothing went missing, and I didn't see anyone, nor any traces from anyone. And no, I never saw that person, entity, thing again, whatever it was. Not from what I remember, at least. That apartment block was pretty haunting-free and peaceful. I don't recall seeing any ghosts or anyone dying there. The window in the living room was closed, I recall this. My nanny, who was also the maid, always opened it to let the air flow, but my stepdad may have imagined it in his sleep. Also, the windows all had protection for kids to not fall down, so it would have been impossible for anyone to break into. I don't claim outright that it was a ghost, I honestly don't know, but it was definitely unsettling. Maybe it was just my imagination. And just responding to that, I would say, yeah, it is possible it's just your imagination, but it seems rather vivid for it to be. So, who knows? Maybe it was your imagination, playing with your Legos, going crazy. Or maybe it was just some kind of entity saying hi. And that concludes our stories for the night. If you enjoyed them and my narration of them, then you know the YouTube drill. Hit the like button, and also consider sharing the video if you'd like to. It can help the channel to grow, but also you're introducing more people to my awesome content. So hey, win-win. If you'd like to subscribe, I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. EST. I'll see you there.